right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Rising rivers leading to a flood of frustrations.
We are on an island, I call it. So we can't get to Eureka, we can't get to Pacific.
Tonight, help is on the way.
After significant rainfall in just a matter of days, we went from drought to extreme flooding. We'll take a latest look at our river levels for the Merrimack and other areas and forecast another round of rain heading into the weekend.
Our top story, a school bus tragedy in St. Charles County. A child is dead, leaving a subdivision shaken.
God, that's horrible.
I started praying right away.
Heartbreak and sadness after a 10-year-old girl lost her life. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. This happened about 6 hours ago on Lupine Court near Bellow Creek Road in O'Fallon. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend is just back from there after talking to neighbors. Robert.
Mike and Kelly, the school bus tragedy has gripped the hearts of neighbors, police officers, firefighters, reporters. And now everyone is thinking about the little girl and her family.
God, that's horrible.
This is a close community, really. Yes. Oh my gosh. Just couldn't imagine it happened.
The sheer shock and sadness quickly spread around this O'Fallon, Missouri subdivision. A spokesman for the St. Charles County Ambulance District says just before 4 Thursday afternoon, a 10-year-old girl was struck by a Fort Zumwalt District school bus. Paramedics rushed to the scene and got here in just 3 minutes. But they could not save her. The child died at the scene. A teary-eyed Marianne Schmidt saw the flashing police lights from her living room window.
Came out and they had her there.
She says the girl and her family live just down the street.
I believe she sold me some Girl Scout cookies. I don't know her name, but yes, what a sweetheart. Very nice little girl.
That really hits me. This is horrible.
Terry Murphy, a grandfather, also choked back tears. He turned the corner heading home when he saw the police scene.
I just can't believe this happened in the subdivision. God, that's horrible. Oh, man.
In a statement, Dr. Paul Myers, the superintendent for the Fort Zumwalt School District, said, "Tonight, our community is grieving. A family lost a child. A school lost a student. And our entire community feels this tremendous loss. At a time like this, there is no way to express the grief we all are feeling." Back in this subdivision, neighbors remembered the little girl who didn't make it home, her parents, and everyone who's hurting.
I'm praying for him. I started praying right away.
Tonight, O'Fallon police haven't officially said if the child had just gotten off the bus when she was struck. We do not know if other students were on the bus at the time, and we have no details about the bus driver. Now, a spokesperson for the police department says out of respect for the family's privacy, further information would not be released until a later time.
Tonight, people in Pacific continue to prepare for flooding along the Merrimack River.
And the Merrimack is forecasted to crest around noon tomorrow, just above 26 feet. That's just shy of major flood stage. Today, people in the town packed nearly 12,000 sandbags in hopes of protecting homes from the rising water.
It's just wonderful to see the whole community gathering together, doing sandbags. It's the best weapon that we have against the flooding of keeping water out.
People living in that flood zone have been asked to evacuate. Electricity has been shut off in the area as a safety precaution.
Tonight, parts of the city of Eureka are flooded. The mayor there tells 5 on your side's Laura Barcheski, luckily, they don't believe the water is going to do as much damage as they anticipated.
The St. Louis County Emergency Management Agency has been monitoring area river levels all week after several significant rain events. The good news is rivers like the Merrimack are on the way down.
I'm hoping it keeps going down. We're going to reach our crest for Valley Park and Fenton tomorrow morning. And then we will be reaching the peak for Eureka, I believe, in the afternoon.
The mayor of the city of Eureka says luckily the flooding is not quite as bad as they thought, but they are seeing some flooding in the trouble spots, like right here at Eureka High School.
There's park areas, fields that are flooding. Like our ball field sometimes takes some water, but they clean off right away. So we've done a lot of mitigation that if we do flood, it's in areas that doesn't really hurt anything.
Some people in the area have already been impacted at their homes and on the road. Christine Slusser lives on the edge of Eureka and Pacific.
So we are on an island, I call it. So we can't get to Eureka, we can't get to Pacific. We're just kind of isolated in our own little bubble.
She says rising waters flooded out her kids' bus routes home from school on Highway F and FF.
So as of 8:30 this morning, it was rising very rapidly. And so I went to go get the children from school. And as of 9:30, it became impassable. And about 10:30, 11 is when we got the text.
That text saying to check their email for a message that buses wouldn't be able to get some kids home Thursday or to school Friday morning.
So they're not even calling school for tomorrow either, even though the river doesn't crest until tomorrow.
Claire Martin with St. Louis County EMA says anyone with flooding issues should call 911 if they're in danger, but also 211.
We keep record of all of these flood impacts in the St. Louis County area. We use this for historical data, and this 211 will offer support systems for those who are struggling with the flood impacts.
Reporting in St. Louis County, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
And the Rockwood School District apologized for the inconvenience and says 7 buses are impacted at these schools. Robert Geggy Elementary, LaSalle Springs Middle, and Eureka High School will be in session tomorrow.
Tonight, Route 141 is shut down at I-44. Floodwaters from the Merrimack are backing up under the overpass. The river there is expected to crest tomorrow morning. MoDOT says the interchange will likely stay closed through the weekend. Tonight, those floodwaters are rising in some areas and falling in others.
Yeah, weather impact meteorologist Gary Frank is tracking more rain that could affect those river levels.
Yeah, the last thing we want to hear about is more rain when we're talking about floodwaters that are trying to work their way down. We look at some of them specifically in the Merrimack, and you can see a couple of spots like Eureka, Valley Park. Those are the major flood stage, and they're still forecast to get up just a little bit. By midnight, you'll see that at Valley Park here. It's not going up much, but that's the crest forecast that we're talking about as we head into the next several hours. So we're working our way down. It's a slow go, and as we see that rain in the forecast, it's not a bunch, but anything in regard to rain. When we're talking about some of these closed roads here with Marshall Road right along the Merrimack, you can see that here. And this is the one you just mentioned at 141. And this is something that Paul's going to be monitoring for you in the morning here. But those are the issues weather-wise. And for the next few days, we are going to see overall still, it's not very cold, but we do have more rain by Saturday. And that's what we're talking about. It's not going to affect you Friday. It's going to be a chilly start, though. We'll finish in the low 60s again with a northeast breeze that's a little bit lighter. But as sun rises at 6:37, it'll feel much better. We'll talk about that rain chance on Saturday, what we're talking about in amounts, and when we're going to see any cold weather the next 7 days.
Tonight, we're getting new images of first responders rescuing a man found on the shore of the River Des Peres. Right now, the victim is in the hospital in critical condition. Fire officials say he was reported missing on Tuesday and believe the floodwaters pulled him into the river for possibly 2 days. Crews on scene say he was not coherent and extremely hypothermic when they found him.
It's not often that we see somebody in floodwaters for 1 to 2 days that survives. It's amazing. It's incredible that he was able to survive so long, that he's been missing since Tuesday.
Fire officials are still investigating how the victim ended up in the river. We spoke with the victim's family, and they say doctors are still working on warming him. Tonight, we know the name of a man killed by a hit-and-run driver in North St. Louis County. Police say 71-year-old Archie Green was hit around 8:30 last night near the intersection of New Halls Ferry Road and Sugar Pine Drive. He later died at the hospital. No arrests have been made.
Less than 48 hours after a resounding electoral victory, President-elect Donald Trump is already making history with his first cabinet appointment. He has tapped Susie Wiles as his White House chief of staff. She becomes the first woman to hold that crucial role. Wiles, a longtime Trump advisor, was co-chair of his 2024 campaign. And President Biden spoke to reporters today from the Rose Garden, where he praised and thanked Vice President Kamala Harris. He also promised a peaceful transfer of power.
You can't love your country only when you win. You can't love your neighbor only when you agree.
And the president also extended an invitation to meet with Mr. Trump at the White House in the coming weeks. Well, the race has been called, yet millions of votes across the country remain to be counted. Tonight, Brandon Lewis looks into the vote counts.
Viral posts on Wednesday claimed millions of votes for president are unaccounted for and are questioning how Donald Trump can already be the projected winner. But are these votes really unaccounted for? Let's verify. Our sources are an analysis of the Associated Press's vote total estimate, the Federal Election Commission, and the University of Florida's Election Lab. We reviewed state-by-state data from the Associated Press and found the votes discussed in the viral posts weren't unaccounted for. They just hadn't been counted yet. As of Wednesday afternoon, poll workers still needed to count more than 16 million ballots. 80% of them were cast in these 6 states, and 5 of them are states that Kamala Harris is already projected to win, so it doesn't change the Electoral College. The exception is in Arizona, which could go either way, but since Trump is already so far ahead in other states, even if Harris were to win Arizona, it wouldn't make a difference in the race. So, no, there are not millions of votes unaccounted for. UF Election Lab estimates show turnout was about the same as 2020, where around 2 in 3 eligible Americans voted. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What would you like for us to verify? Send us an email to verify@ksdk.com.
St. Charles County election officials are in the middle of counting thousands of ballots by hand after seeing a record-setting voter turnout on Tuesday. 76% of registered voters came out, casting more than 200,000 ballots. Those ballots are now being counted in a state-mandated 5% audit. The massive amount of votes is prompting the county to already start planning for the next election.
We need additional supervisors, we need additional election judges, and the only way to do that well is to have trained staff who can provide that leadership and that support so that no matter what location a voter is voting at, they can expect high quality service.
They're also looking at ways to improve parking and traffic flow at polling places.
Well, right now, mental health assistance is just a phone call away. 5 on Your Side and Behavioral Health Response are offering support until 10:30 tonight. If you or anyone you know needs mental health support, call 988 to speak to a trained counselor. Teens can text Be Heard to 31658. Close call. Chilling video tonight of a frightening crash that came within inches of tragedy. Baby walker warning.
And it isn't just the risk of falling downstairs, but also other hazards.
Some countries ban them. The call tonight for the United States to fall in line.
After we've had a dry period, after all of that rain, we're just starting to dry out before this system arrives, and it'll provide snow in the mountains, but rain for us. Will it bring any of that cold air? We'll track this system heading into the weekend.
A judge has ordered a Missouri man to be extradited to Indianapolis to face charges in the 1993 murder of a college student.
Dana Jermaine Shepard was arrested in September. Investigators say new DNA evidence links him to the stabbing death of 19-year-old Carmen Van Huss. At the time of his arrest, Shepard was working as a custodian at Mizzou. Now take a look at this heart-stopping video showing a near miss for highway workers in New York State. A worker noticed the truck coming towards him and calmly backed away just seconds before it slammed into a trailer, sending debris flying. No one was seriously hurt. No word on charges against the driver. Authorities hope this video serves as a reminder to drivers to slow down and move over for highway workers. An important warning tonight about a popular product for babies.
Baby walkers have been linked to thousands of injuries and even deaths. And tonight, Consumer Reports exposes the dangers and what parents can do to protect their children.
For years, baby walkers have been a popular choice for parents looking to help their little ones move and explore. Jessie Uzuda, seen here with her 2 baby cousins in baby walkers, used one as a baby herself. Her siblings have gotten it for their children.
Family members would always get baby walkers for our family members. Like, even without asking, they were like, oh, you should get a baby walker.
What Jessie's family didn't know, and many parents still don't, is that over just one 4-year period, sit-in baby walkers were linked to an average of 3,000 injuries per year and 8 deaths.
The most common injuries were babies falling out of their walkers or down the stairs, causing injuries to their hands and faces, contusions, abrasions, and even internal organ injuries.
That's why Canada banned them 20 years ago. The American Academy of Pediatrics say baby walkers should never be used.
Parents don't realize how fast babies can move in walkers. They can travel multiple feet per second. And it isn't just the risk of falling downstairs, but also other hazards like increased access to stoves or pools.
Despite repeated recalls, updated safety standards, and expert warnings, baby walkers continue to be sold in the U.S. Hispanic consumers are almost twice as likely as non-Hispanic consumers to have purchased a baby walker in the last 6 months.
It's more of a tradition, I think, for our family, since everyone always had one.
The Juvenile Products Manufacturers Association, an industry trade group, responded in a statement to Consumer Reports saying in part, baby walkers on the market in the U.S. today include a number of design improvements and safety features that have made them, like all baby products, safer than at any other time. But many safety advocates, including Consumer Reports, say the risk of injury or even death is too great.
It's time for the U.S. to follow Canada's lead and ban all baby walkers.
Studies show children who use baby walkers extensively may have a harder time learning to walk independently.
Tonight, a St. Peter's business is celebrating one of its employees for his service and for his future service to our country. Kokomo Joe's held a send-off party for Ian Hedgecorth, who enlisted in the Marines and is being deployed next week to Japan for 3 years. He says he hopes his time with the Marines inspires his family.
I've always been someone who loved a challenge. That's why I picked the Marine Corps. And then for my nephew and my nieces, I wanted to give them a really good role model to have. And I know the Marine Corps, a lot of their ideals is something I want to see them have.
Kokomo Joe's also announced they're offering free bowling for veterans on Veterans Day. And the Veterans Day is Monday, but the Veterans Day Parade in downtown St. Louis will be held on Saturday. The parade steps off from 18th and Olive at 10:30 a.m., ending at the Soldiers Memorial, where a ceremony will be held at 11:30. And the 5+ Live Bus will be there. There will also be a pop show.
Meteorologist Gary Frank joins us now with the weather impact forecast. Of course, we had some rain this past week, and there is more in the forecast, right, Gary?
Yeah, just a little bit here and there, and we're not fast forwarding quite to Christmas, but I did select this because it feels like, we should be further into November. Actually, just nice to look at the light show early on here at Missouri Botanical Garden, testing things out here ahead. But, we're into November, and we should feel more like it, but we haven't. Today was slightly above average in the afternoon. It's still 50 at this hour with calm winds. 61 was where we got today. That was above average, but the morning is where you really notice it. You'll notice that it is not the same tomorrow morning. We start off so far with a 60-degree average temperature so far. That's the 12th warmest start. We got a small sample size. And the reason I mentioned that small sample size is we still have the wettest start to November through the first 7 days by over 2 inches. Even if we ended if we had no rain the rest of the month, it would still be in the top 5. That's how significant it has been. That's why we've had the flooding. Dry overnight, mid-30s, low 30s outside of the city. Chilly. This is where it should feel like this time of the year in November. But as we look off to our west, this slow-moving system here and the Four Corners, you'll see that spin. It is very slow. And you'll notice on the other side of it, snow under the mountains, elevations from Albuquerque up in the Rockies. But on this side of it, some pretty good rain. And what we'll notice here as we kind of broaden this out, we have 40s already. Look how cold it is off to the west. And that's where that front is settling in. We will not see that significant cold air, but what we'll notice is on the leading edge of it, still in the 50s. So we're going to see that moisture continue to be driven up from the Gulf. And as a result, I think we start off Saturday dry, but notice the time frame, 8, 9 o'clock, there's some spots still dry at this point. I think we have just a wall of showers at this point. Maybe a rumble of thunder or two, but I think it's just a wall of showers here by 10 or 11. Notice how it breaks up, moves away, and then they're just hit and miss showers throughout the day. And then I think that's going to be something that we have to deal with even through 4 or 5 o'clock. Not widespread, not significant, certainly not severe, and it's not going to carry the rainfall rates that the other ones did, because what you'll notice here is they deal with that, and then this kind of weakens as it gets closer to us. I think there may be a 1/2 inch to 2/3 of an inch total, but most of us are going to get much, much less than what we had the other day. So as a result, you'll notice that over the next few days, you get a few showers on Saturday, but by Sunday, look at temperatures in the 60s, mid to upper 60s. And that's why I say our average high is 59 degrees this time of the year. And while it may be breezy on Sunday to help warm us back up, we're going to stay that way. So I think that all those wet leaves in my yard that I need to get out of the way, but I don't really want to, I'm going to let them dry up on Sunday after that last rain and then try to tackle it next week.
Yeah,
that's probably a good idea.
Heavy wet leaves.
All right, thank you, Gary. Corey's here with sports.
Well, the Blues played their first game against the NHL's newest team. SLU Soccer is on the doorstep of another A10 title, and it's an awesome time of year in high school sports. Stick around, sports is up next.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
A few team nicknames have been floated out for the NHL's newest franchise after the Coyotes moved from Phoenix to Salt Lake City. The Utah Yeti, the Utah Blizzard, well, for now, they're still just the Utah Hockey Club. They made the trek to St. Louis tonight. What a great sight to see Dylan Holloway back in the lineup after that scary puck to the neck last game. What a tough hockey guy. He and the Blues hosted hometown Utah captain Clayton Keller in this one. Utah starts fast, 18 seconds into the game fast. Michael Kesserling, that made it 1-0. Late in the first, Colton Parayko stays hot with a laser beam, and we're tied at 1. Dangerous hit from Utah in the second on Alexei Toropchenko, and P.O. Joseph wastes no time defending his teammate. You love to see that. Utah was up 2-1 in the third when Jordan Kyrou lights the lamp. That tied it with 6.5 minutes left. But about 3 minutes later, some bad luck for the Blues. That shot goes off a sliding Parayko past Joel Hofer for what would be the game winner. Utah wins 4-2 and outshot the Blues 31-15.
They do, like I said, a good job of holding the blue line and turning pucks over. And for us, it's just keeping it simpler and getting pucks in below the goal line and getting to work. But we didn't seem to generate any forecheck tonight.
The SLU women's soccer team will likely be going to the NCAA tournament regardless of what happens in the A10 championship on Sunday. They will host UMass at noon. However, they don't want any suspense on Selection Monday, so the Bills would just like to win the Atlantic 10. They've won the A10 tournament 6 straight times and haven't allowed a goal in 8 games. The coach knows they cannot look ahead, though.
I think especially this season, this team, us as a staff, we've just been very in the moment day to day that it almost is surprising that it's here. Happy to be here, of course, but we've been so thoughtful about just being day to day that it's wonderful to realize that the next opportunity is to win a championship.
Big news for the future of the Cardinals on television. Today, the club announced a multi-year agreement to stay with FanDuel Sports Network, previously Bally Sports. The network will broadcast all games that aren't televised nationally. Fans will also be able to stream games on the FanDuel app. That pricing will be announced later on. It's a big weekend for high school football playoffs on 5 on Your Sideline. Juggernaut East St. Louis continues their title run on Saturday. The Flyers have only lost 1 game this year, and it was a 1-point overtime loss to national powerhouse IMG Academy. Anytime an opponent sees a team with a pedigree like the Flyers on their schedule, it's the other team's Super Bowl. And East St. Louis knows everybody wants to take them down.
Each team, they're going to try to give us their best shot. It just push us to go harder, to make smart plays, play discipline, and stay focused.
You know, it's tough because, you got to get the kids to realize that each and every week. You got to remember they're just 17, 18-year-olds. They just want to play football. And they don't understand that, like I said, you got a bullseye on your back every week. You got that target. And that you got to play your best game each and every week.
Boys Soccer District Championship of Class 1 at Valley Park at St. Mary's. The guy you see right there is Valley Park's Will Geary, the all-time leading scorer in Missouri high school soccer history. Yes, history. Close calls early in this one. First, it's Valley Park's Stephen Ermer with the save. Then it's Paul Swang with a save on the other side for St. Mary's. Geary almost gets his 53rd goal of the season. Just a little high, though. However, Valley Park would go on to win 1-0 to win the district crown. Hey, lastly, a shout out to the students at Freeburg Grade School. I stopped by my old alma mater to talk about being a sports reporter and take some great questions from the kids. Now, they tried to get me to name my favorite teacher when I was there, many of whom were in attendance. I did not take that bait. I was too smart for that, but a lot of great questions from the kids.
They usually do ask great questions.
Yeah, they do. Thanks.
Well, Thanksgiving is still 3 weeks away, where they will be spreading Christmas cheers this weekend.
You know that. Tonight, the 2024 Rockefeller Center Christmas tree is on its way to New York City. This morning, crews cut down the 74-foot-tall Norway spruce from a yard in the Berkshires of Massachusetts. The 11-ton tree is expected to arrive in Manhattan on Saturday, where it will be decorated with 50,000 lights. The tree will be lit December 4th during a primetime special right here on 5 on Your Side.
And let's talk about more holiday stories. The holiday spirits will be flowing starting tomorrow. 360 Westport will transform into a holiday pop-up bar up on the rooftop. Features holiday decor, cocktails, and food. Some of the signature drinks include Santa's sparkling sangria, pumpkin pie, old-fashioned, and a spicy, boozy hot chocolate. Odd name, Cotton-headed Ninny Muggins. Downtown 360's holiday pop-up bar opens Sunday.
That's an elf reference.
Elf reference, yeah.
All right, let's go to Gary once more with a final check of the weather impact forecast, and it could be a little wet this weekend.
Yeah, a little bit. I think at times. I think for about a 5-hour period on Saturday, but it's not going to really add to the flooding. It's just not something you want to see after we've been dealing with some of those localized areas of flooding. Overall, it's warm, and that is the closest that we're going to get to Christmas or anything that feels like it the next 7 to 10 days, because even as we go down, once again, next Thursday, that's still above average. So we stay pretty mild over the next few days. Overall, it's a nice weekend. It's still warming up.
And there you have it, 5 on Your Side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+.
And be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis. That starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.